welcome back to Family Builders TV, where we're building homes and transforming society. My name is Tosin of Pelua, and today I have with me a wonderful man of God, a psalmist, he's an engineer. He's going to tell you more about himself. He has done great works. And this afternoon, I want you to join me and welcome Pastor Faith Nwokoma.
Thank you so much, Tosin. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. For everyone who is watching us for the first time, I want to say welcome to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And if you're watching the replay, because a lot of people will be joining to see the replay, I want you to give us a thumbs up so that we can make sure that YouTube is showing us, because when you like the video, YouTube will show it to more people. All right, Pastor Faith, tell us more about yourself. You've done a lot of work. I can't tell it all. I want you to tell the people a lot about yourself.
I like to keep things brief, actually. So you can just call me Faith Nwokoma, actually. So I like to keep it simple. So where do I start? I'm an engineering person. I'm into IT. A PhD student, actually. Also, I'm into music. I entered much into music from last year, 2021, and it's been good and wonderful. I think I have over 20 songs right now, right? Yeah, I have over 20 songs, and they will bless you. Most of them are within the Christendom, the gospel, just praising God. And there are one or two other ones that I did as a kind of activism for societal awakening, people getting to wake up to the realities of the things around them. As a writer, I know it looks like, I think it's been a very long time I wrote last, but I have two books. One, Richard I Know You Well, and then just the other one is Success Markets, right? So what more? I'm married, so with a beautiful daughter and a wife. So I think that's gonna be all for me.
All right, thank you so much, Pastor Faith. So I'm going to start from your introduction. I'm going to start my questions from your introduction, actually.
Okay.
I understand that, sometimes I remember, let me quickly say this. I have lots of, songs that I've written, but I don't feel like I am more into, that song. Now, somebody asked me, so I told one of your crew, Pastor Femi, and I shared with him, some years ago about some of the songs that I have, and I told him I don't really feel that's my way, I'm more into speaking and writing. So he said, yes, it's true that sometimes we don't have, when God can give you a song and it might not really be for you. At what point did you discover that this is for you? This is what you're supposed to really be doing, Okay, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. So, good question. I did not make the decision to go into music. Actually, I used to sing. I've been on choir almost all my life, right? Growing up, I've been in church, I've been on choir, different denominations. I've also led some choir. Back then, I think that should be around 2007 or 2008. I and one of my friends, Ugo, in Lagos back then, in Nigeria, Oka to be precise, did an album and tried distributing it very wide, especially the three hit track or demo that they gave us out of the 8 tracks, took it so much round. But back then in the East, everything music was just all about Lagos. So some of the DJs at the radio stations and TV stations that we took the song to ask us to try and go to Lagos to remaster it so that it can meet the dance standard. We came back to the studio to pick our songs, at least the stems, so that we can go to Lagos. After much distribution in the East, they told us that the song they had a virus attack on their system, and it was all destroyed. And believe you me, we spent a lot. We borrowed money to get that project rolling. And since that time, I didn't think of studio again. I didn't think of anything music. I used to sing high life, reggae, high praises, worship, being in the church, oftentimes, always. So, but something happened, I think that was last year, around June. A friend of mine got a keyboard, got some setups, We do come together just to sing and rehearse, get parts, and all the rest of them. So then the inspirations came back. So every week I write a new song. Every week will come, I teach a new song. Every week will come, I teach a new song. We were doing this for about 7 weeks. Within those 7 weeks, I've gotten about 7 songs. So because what we'll now do is each week when I teach the new songs, we'll play it. I just record it on my phone. We play a record on my phone, we do it part and we enjoy the song and we'll go. So after like about 7 weeks, running to 1 month, 2 months, right? I decided to invite Femi. I said, come and listen to these songs. I think they're good. Let's touch them. So he came, we looked at the song, gave parts where we needed to make some readjustments. We made some readjustments. And he said he produced this. That was how we decided to give it a shot. So we started the first 7 songs with him. And then the confidence came back. The ideas kept coming. So early this year, when I traveled to Nigeria, I invited my cousin, the beat boss, one of my producers also. He came over to Lagos. We did 5 songs stretch within a week. And it was ready. So my flight to come back to US was delayed. After 2 weeks, I knew I was going to spend up to a month plus. Again, I invited him. He came back and spent 1 week. Within that 1 week, we got another 5 songs. Maybe recorded. So that was 10 songs that I did in Nigeria, which was part of the videos that I went back to shoot. So we used that particular time for the production. And since then, it's been one song or the other, and production has continued to go ahead. So that's why I said I didn't plan it. I didn't know I was going to go into music. But one thing that I discovered is this: when something comes to you and is coming to you very natural, do it. Just like he said, I used to sing. Sometimes I'll be driving and I'll start singing new songs. Sometimes I wake up singing new songs. Sometimes I hum songs and I jot. So, but I wasn't taking them serious until this time. So every inspiration that comes to me this time, I trap it. I don't put notes or by write, which I don't used to do before. After that time, I told you, back then in Nigeria when we got our music lost, doesn't mean that the gift left, but I was not paying attention to them. So it kept coming, but I never paid attention to them. And then I must also say on this show, one of the biggest challenges I had going to the studio is in so many choir that I've been, not everyone believed in my music prowess or in my music talent. Because when you look at the voice, I may not be the first 10 or the first 5 in as regarding voice station, maybe the ad libs or everything. But one thing I discovered is everybody has his niche. And your niche, your voice will take it. Keep doing what you're doing. It may not be that wonderful at the beginning, it's going to get better. And the truth is, the more I go to studio, the more I'm beginning to bring out songs, the more I see where I need to improve, the more the productions are getting better. You get people criticism who will tell you, okay, it should have been like this. Why some people will? A lot of people bluntly told me, I don't know what you're doing, no. You should go and focus on your PhD. They think maybe I am doing this as an escape from my program. It's not an escape from it's not even paying me, but I've spent, thousands of dollars in this particular project. And it's not giving me anything, but I have joy doing it. So I know it's actually going to pay one day. I'm grown enough to know that consistency is going to give you that reward that you need. So people keep telling me, so you sing also. I think you should go and focus on your PhD program. But right now it's getting better. Those people that didn't believe in some of the first states of productions are beginning to enjoy the songs. The more you grow, the more doubters get proven wrong. But if God is putting it in your heart, do it. If you want to write, write. And sometimes take the quantum leap. It could be very surprising. When you visit the studio the first time, get your song out, you kill some aspect of your fear. You will get back to the studio. So that's all I would say. You never know what you can do until you get into it.
Thank you so much. I'm going to play one of the video of the music, and let's enjoy it together.
I'll never be more loved than I am right now. Going through a storm, but I won't go down. I hear your voice carried in the rhythm of the wind to call me out. You would cross an ocean so I wouldn't drown. You've never been closer than you are right now.
Yeah. Perfect love casts no fears. It's never built on lies. Love rides on every plane. It gets no point to prove. You seek it, you find it, you give it, you get it. God is not there for gains. His love comes with no pains. He got his plans for me. He made me for his cause. In the deep, he speaks out. In the dark, he calls out. He holds me by his hands. Every step of the way, I've got to...
That was powerful. That was powerful. You know,
Yeah, actually, that's a promotional clip that you've got there. So yeah, the full song, Gyre, Perfect Love, is also on my channel. I think I put that out either on YouTube, this one that you played, either on YouTube or Instagram, to promote the main song, and I'm sure you actually like it. It's one of the simple projects I did last time I traveled to Nigeria, with Sophie, my friend. So that's why if you look at the video, it's not like, we made it very simple, because it's actually Gyre, is the Gyre song cover. So that's why we kept it very simple. But I love the flow, and I love, the beat that will give it a little bit of dynamics.
Yes, I think I love that music, and that's why I have to go and download it for myself. Okay, now you mentioned something before.
Can I get 20 seconds?
Please go ahead.
Just 20.
I'll never be more loved than I am right now. Going through a storm, but I won't go down. I hear your voice carried in the rhythm of the wind to call me out. You would cross an ocean so I wouldn't drown. You've never been closer than you are right now.
Yeah. Perfect love casts no fears. It's never built on lies. Love rides on every plane. It gets no point to prove. You seek it, you find it, you give it, you get it. God is not there for gains. His love comes with no pains. He got his plans for me. He made me for his cause. In the deep, he speaks out. In the dark, he calls out. He holds me by his hands. Every step of the way, I've got to...
All right. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. So you mentioned something about focus. A lot of people believe that you need to focus on one thing. Is one gift that you were given. This is just one thing that you should be doing per time. And I believe that God has given us, like he gave one 5 talents, right? He gave one 2, and he gave one 1. So he gave according to our capacity. So how do we balance the aspect of knowing this is my purpose, this is what I want to, live for, and then these are all the gifts that God has embedded me with, and how can I harness them? So how do we balance that?
Well, there are 2 different ways to look at this. One is looking at it from the standpoint of mature Christians. And the other one is from the standpoint of everybody. When we're dealing with purpose and the things God has called us to do, we do not know them complete. And that's where it becomes necessary to follow the Lord. At your led, some of these things are going to come up. Bible says something, say whatever thing that your hand find it to do, do it with all your might. So if it is something that you have started, just like this music, right? It was not a plan, because if it's something that I say plan it, probably the way people around me or the choir that I've been involved in, their strengths, the way they talked with, or the way they handled or classified me, actually created a self-doubt in myself, right? So if you say what you want to do or what you plan, I could not have planned myself in music. That's to say that. So, but now that I have seen myself come into that by providence, which I believe is God, I need to give it all that it requires. That's where diligence comes in. So there are some assignments in your life sometimes that pop up and you do not know why they're there. When it is the appointed time, the leading to focus more into them will come. I do see, and that sometimes helps. Maybe if you want to preach this and that, or you're having devotion, songs brings me close into worship. I never knew that later on at this stage of my life, I am going to be bringing other songs that are going to draw people to the throne of God. So I just felt I had it. If you ask me, what do I do? What do I like to do in the ministry? I would say teaching. I love you and I love to teach. I love to teach the Bible. So, but in the absence of that, now we have music ministry there. We have to give it up. So that's why I say, in the context of mature Christians, you follow God. And whatever thing that he brings your way at that moment, you give it all your best, simply because your duty as a person is to serve God. And when we say our duty, as Solomon described, is to serve God and keep his commandments, that is to say, it's God that tells you how to serve him and where to serve him. Okay? So that is when you receive these ministries. They don't have to be, hey, you hear by trumpet or you're sleeping in the night, you now hear, hey, my son, come into the music ministry, or my son, go and do this. You just begin to find yourself doing some of these things. The relationship that will connect them will come. Would you imagine that what brought me into song, having been in choir so many years, what brought me back to the music industry right now is just rehearsing with a friend in his house. The relationships will form. The zeal will come. The inspirations will come. When the time of everything is mature, God will bring everything. Bible says that he makes all things beautiful in his time. So when it is the time, things get beautiful. Our Bible says in the days of your power, that people will be obedient. When it's time, people that will help you, they will be willing to. And that is one thing that I have seen in this particular area of the music that I'm talking about now. I've seen people willing to help. I've seen people come for rehearsals, don't ask for anything. I've seen producers willing to help, right? I've seen people willing to give their money and their time just to make it a success. So, but when you now talk about people making their plans and following it, or maybe having multiple plans, personalities are not the same. That's one thing I will say. When you talk about people like melancholists, they don't want to do many things. They want to take their time in whatever thing that they are doing. They count their risk. If the risk outweighs the profits they see, they don't go into it. Economic can take so many things at the same time. Never want to get stuck. I take 2 or 3 projects. We are just not made the same. So we cannot go judging everybody by our own standard or how we feel. Hey, he's taking too much. No, you were made to take less. Just like about the gifts. That somebody has 5, somebody has 3, somebody 2, and then somebody has 1, right? According to their capacities. So if your capacity is 1 and that is the one you're doing it well. Don't judge another person and think that he's overthinking or he's overacting. He has the capacity to. But in that context of purpose, like we discussed in this thing today, we are talking about it today. When you give yourself dreams and careers, pursue them. When you give yourself, you stand the risk of walking away from God's plan, even though you're a Christian. That's where the place of prayer comes in, to make sure that everything that we're doing, whichever career, whatever thing that we're doing part-time, It's not created by the circumstance. We did not make those choices by our own selfish desire. The, to be famous, the quest to make money, the quest for pleasure, the quest to be. When you, even though that you're a Christian and you're going to be praying and be quoting scriptures, you might get those things, but mind you, they are very inferior before God. They are very inferior. Paul said that at the end of all things, our work shall be tried with fire. You will only get word by what is left. Okay, imagine these people who came to Jesus, men of God that are known. They came to him and said, we did miracles. We raised the dead. We did this. And Christ looked at them and said, depart from me, I never knew you. But they obtained the result by the name of Christ. They were in ministry full-time, and they were coming with assurance to receive the word. But he didn't say you didn't walk according to my instruction. He said, I never knew you. So it's possible to be in ministry and not be on purpose. That's one thing people need to understand. You're not on purpose because you're a Christian. Christianity does not automatically qualify that everything you're doing is on purpose. And that's why nobody has concrete plan of his life and say, I know what I am going to do. This is all I'm going to do by myself all my days. If you've read the scripture and follow everyone in the scripture, you know that one thing that everyone in the scripture strived to do was to live their life simple on daily basis, obeying God as he leads them. God can come like Abraham and say, stay in this city. When the Lord says stay in this city, it's no longer wrong for you to plan on how to live in that city. Okay, I need to go to farm in the morning because Isaac sowed in the land in that same year. So you now need to plan on how to sow because there is an instruction to stay in this city. That doesn't mean you don't have to plan while in that city. And you wake up in the morning and you just relax. The Lord has asked me to be in this city. Solomon said, in the morning, cast thy bread. In the evening, cast thy bread. You don't know the one that is going to profit you, right? So if the Lord has laid something in your hand, let's assume now you are getting into IT, you have this strong urge and you've prayed, you're convinced to go into IT, go get certifications. Find a way to grow in your career, learn more. If you're into music and you feel satisfied, God is bringing you in the music industry, try and be the best. Whatsoever thing that your hand finds to do, do it. But the good thing that I've discovered these days, if God is calling you into something, it will pay. Even though that at the beginning, it may not be that sweet, but at the end, it's going to pay. So doing too many things, doing less things, it depends on people's capacity. I would never judge it as right or wrong.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so I want us to back up a bit. One of the challenge I've seen, especially in the mental health field, is that there is something that is always missing in people's life. And part of the reason for that thing called depression is that missing thing. Waking up, not having a purpose, not having something that you're living for, right? Now, we see a lot of younger people that they want to be in so many things, they want to do so many things, but they don't even know who they are. And it becomes a concern because they become confused. They just want to live anyhow. How do we identify, how do we help younger people identify the reason for being who they are and living a life of purpose? Because when there's no meaning for living, a lot of things will set in, including depression, including drug use, including alcohol. All those things will creep in because there's no identity and there's no reason for living. How do we help young people get to that space?
So I will take it this way. There is a fundamental problem with our society. And that fundamental problem with our society is when the society tries to take people's eyes away from God, that society will have problem. Check history.
Yes, sir.
Go through every history and look at whenever society is working to take the presence of God away from that society, evil, crime go high.
Mm.
You begin to hear all manner of things.
Mm.
Man is not made to be alone
Mm.
or to be occupied by nothing. That's why when an English person tells you that an idle mind is the devil's workshop, we used to have that adage, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the truth.
Mm.
Man is never vacuum.
Mm.
If you're not occupied by God, you're going to be occupied by evil spirits because you are made as a spirit being. Do you know what our lives looks like? Man spiritually has an environment that he dwells in, even though, right, that we live in the physical body.
Mm.
Your spirit interacts with God.
Mm-hmm.
Your spirit interacts with abstract environments.
Mm-hmm.
You feel it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's where sometimes people talk about premonition. You begin to feel something and it comes to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Some people who have had accidents have woken up in the morning, they don't feel like going out. They begin to feel it within themselves that something strange is about to happen. And they go out, it happens. Man is spirit, like body. When you lose your connection with God, you lose your purpose. See, wealth cannot replace God. Go ask the rich who have made money at the later end of their life. They understand that even the money they've made is nonsense. You go home with nothing. You come empty-handed. The wealth get transferred. At the end of their sick bed, they begin to reflect and understand that my life was more than the name that is in the mouth of the people. You begin to see yourself singular before your creator. You now begin to see yourself at the rightful community where you should belong. So when a society tries to tell people self-awareness, discover yourself, look into yourself. When you look into yourself, you will see nothing. Remember what Jesus said? He said, I am the vine, I'm the tree, you are the branches. Without me, you can do nothing.
Nothing.
So when you don't see God in any man's life, that life, you will see people beginning to find meaning in the world to accumulate. You want to buy a car, they want to buy this. You want to change this car, you want to buy a house. You see them find meaning in the clothes they wear. You see them find meaning in how much they're celebrated or the people that are following them on social media. You see them find meaning in their career. That's what they wake up and think. And when they have problem in those areas, they begin to question life. They will tell you that life is not fair. Life is fair. Because life itself was not supposed to be, life itself is God. Jesus said, I am the vine, you are the branches. Life comes from the vine. So when you want to live without God, when you want to live and you don't want to recognize who God is or get dependent on him, do you know that the presence of God in a believer alone can make him content even though that he's poor? Because there is purpose. A friend of mine so many years ago said that the biggest way to distract any young man is to make him buy into a purpose that is not his. His life will be useless. Allow him, convince him to buy into a purpose that is not his. He's gone for life. So when people want to find the meaning of life in the smoke, in their friend, in the pleasure they have, in the influence or the affluence that they control, when these things get questioned that you don't see them, you find depression. You begin to look at life and you don't find meaning in life. You don't see what, you just believe that taking your own life is going to give you rest. Let me end it all. End what? End what? When you take your life, another journey starts.
Yes.
So when we do not have this kind of ideas inculcated into the society, and now people just believe that when you take your life, it's all over. It's not over.
Not.
It is the beginning of an unending journey. So if people have this idea, they will live better. The problem we have with our society these days is that the issue of God has been so much taken away from people that there is no other place to find meaning. You cannot find it in government. It doesn't come from insurance. Life doesn't come from insurance. Satisfaction does not come from the number of friends that you have. In the evening, they will all go away. You're going to go home in your life, stay alone in your house. You'll be alone, and that's where depression comes in. That's where Bible talks about joy unspeakable that cannot be altered. Is coming from God. So for our younger people and the younger generation, I don't know how to solve their problem than encouraging people to, I can even say it like this, try God. As simple as that. Like I can say, try Jesus. Just give it a chance. Give it a chance. Try and understand what is even this gospel. It solves every need of yours. It does. It solves every need of yours. If you listen to that song, if you listen to that Joy Recover, there is one of the parts that I wrote there. Lines I wrote there. I said, you work out to be rich, I'm wealthy already. You work out to be saved, I'm saved already. But you may not understand that. You might count wealth by the amount of cash that we have. You might count protection, maybe by the number of police that can be able to answer when you call. Life is more than what eyes can see. So let's get into what reality is.
Thank you so much, Pastor Faith. So what I hear you saying is our life, our meaning is in God. So if anybody wants to really find a meaning, you can't find meaning and fulfillment in any other thing except in God. And we have said this over and over. People believe that the amount of one of the things I ate, I will use the word ate. One of the things I ate most in life is competition. I've learned to compete with myself alone. At the same time, I've learned to do only what God wants me to do so that I don't stress myself unnecessarily. And that has really helped me on my journey, no matter what. And I'm still so stubborn that I'm going to stand on what God says alone, no matter what anybody does. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's not easy. But at the end of the day, you realize that you're walking in the path of purpose. And that's what you are saying, that if anybody will have a real life, they should try God. John chapter 1 verse 4 says, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness could not comprehend it. So if anybody will really have that life, will really enjoy that God, then you have to find that God and obey that God. So thank you so much.
Let me just say a little thing in that last clause. Say the light shines in darkness, and darkness cannot comprehend it. That's the problem that we have, right? This light is shining. Just like the way we are talking now, it's like shining that light. And we are shining it in a dark environment, a dark society that needs it. But they don't comprehend it. The simplicity of the gospel is what is betraying people. You've been tagged a fool. You've been tagged one thing or the other. But this light is still shining in darkness. Every now and then, you see this light in people, and yet darkness cannot comprehend it. It's very simple, it's very joyous. It has contentment, it has peace. It solves most of your problems. And yet, darkness cannot comprehend it.
Thank you so much, Pastor Faith. So usually before I go, I always ask my guests to tell the people how they can find them and what they are doing right now. So I'm going to pull up your event. I want you to tell people more about your upcoming album launching. If you're watching and you're around Texas, I want you to attend this event. So let's talk about it. What should we expect? How do we get there? What should we do? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I want to use this opportunity actually to invite everybody to the album launch. The truth is that I don't know the album that I'm launching because I have two album plus, right? And I have two, and then I have lots of singles. So, but the thing is this, right? It's not a time of show. It's a time of intense spiritual worship. All of the people you are seeing there are all worship ministers. So it's not a time of show. When you come, you are coming to have a time of communion with the Lord via songs. I'm telling you, lives will be touched. So it's my first musical show, or let me say my first musical program that I am holding. And I called it an album launch because I'm trying to use this particular period to introduce my songs to the community, introduce this ministry, right, to the community. I've been in this place now for some time, right, since 2017. Not everybody knows me, not many, not even everybody, not many know me with music. So that's why I am hosting this particular program so that people can come together. Let's worship God. And believe you me, you will be blessed by the ministration of the guest artists. These are not show off people. These are people who come to worship God. So let's make it a date on the 22nd of October at Langham Drive, 6603 Langham Drive. And I am sure you are going to be very much blessed. That is off Highway 6, House of David Church. You will actually be blessed. It's 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., but the door opens by 5 p.m. So you get in, get seated, talk to the Lord, view the environment, catch up some pictures, and then be ready for ministrations. And I am sure that you're going to be blessed.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. So, how can people find you on social media?
Yeah, so on Faith on YouTube, you can find me as Faith Nwokoma on YouTube. Then Facebook is Faith to the Official. Twitter is Faith to the Official. Instagram is Faith to the Official. I think also TikTok should also be Faith to the Official. So the rest of my social media handles, apart from YouTube, are Faith to the Official. So when you go there, type Faith to the, you see me. But on YouTube, you're going to see my full name, Faith Nwokoma. So you can watch. Please watch, stream the songs, and all my songs are also available on all streaming platforms: iTunes, Ayoba in Nigeria, Bookplay, Amazon Music, Apple Music. Just find my name, Faith Nwokoma. That's my official name, and that's the name I use for all my music. I am sure you'll be blessed by the songs that you will hear.
Thank you so much. Is there any other thing you want to tell our people? I know you are also an activist. What should people do in 2023 election? I've been seeing some people are not going out to vote. They are not getting their card. What do you want? How do you want to encourage the youth in Nigeria right now?
We're overdue for this change. I'll tell you the truth. We are overdue. I'm not a party member, but right now we're obedient. And I have to say it pop and plain. Maybe I don't know if Tosin is obedient. For me, I am, because that's the most credible candidate Nigeria has now. We need change. We cannot continue to do the same. There is a lot of work that is going to go into changing Nigeria. Lots of things needs to be touched, the constitution and so many things, but we have to start by getting it right from the beginning. Right now, 2023, go out and vote. Choose whoever you want to vote and go and vote. But for now, I am.
You have your candidates. I do not have any candidates right now, but I want people to vote for the right person that they want. Check their background, check what they have done, check what they have done very well, and the people that surround them, and the people that will be controlling them after the election. That's very, very, very important.
So for me personally, I'm asking you, if you do not know how to do your homework very well on the candidates. I've done my own homework, and I'm telling you, you may forget your homework. I've done my own on P2B. So please, I am obedient for this very election. So if you are voting for P2B, fine and very good. If you're not voting for P2B, be sure that you're doing your homework well. But like I said, we are obedient right now. Let us do this election. Another thing I'm also going to ask for is that we should try, the youth, as much as possible to make sure that everything goes peacefully. Stay and be sure that your vote is counted and let it be done peacefully. Nigeria needs change, right? We need change. That country is blessed and we must have to move ahead away from the kind of politics and leadership that we have now. God forbid that we'll go into that very circle again. We do not know what will befall us. So get focused, keep working, don't get discouraged, don't get into crime. God will see you through if you're determined. I'm telling you the simple truth. Life has a way of supporting people who make up their mind for good. Shun evil, and you'll be good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
on activism, I have 2 songs. Sometimes people say, why are you doing this song? They say you're a pastor. I don't care so much sometimes on people's advice. If a pastor can talk politics, what stops a Christian who can discuss politics by songs from discussing politics via songs? I have 2 songs on activism. You will like them. Who You Help, and then Niger. These are the 2 titles, Who You Help and Niger. You will also like the other song, Mental Slaves, and What Comes Around Goes Around. These are songs for the society, right? And for our environment in particular. So the rest, I do 2 types of songs, Christian, activism. So I have very few songs on activism. The rest are gospel. Listen and be blessed.
Thank you so much, Pastor Faith. I really want to thank everyone who has joined us today and those who will be watching the replay of this show. I want to say thank you for joining us. I appreciate you all. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Today we discussed about walking in the path of your purpose. And the best way to do so is for you to find who you are through God. So if every other thing has failed, if you're missing something, you feel like there is an emptiness in your life, then there's a need for you to find that God. When you find that God, you will find that peace. So try Jesus, because in him is life. And that life is the light of men. And that light shines so much that darkness could not comprehend it. So join the light. Live your life for God. Thank you so much, Pastor Faith, for joining. Don't forget, go and get your ticket. The ticket is free for Pastor Faith's show. Free of charge.
2nd of October.
And I put the link actually in the description of this video on YouTube and Facebook. I don't know if it's going to show on Facebook, but I'm sure it's going to show on YouTube. So the link is there. Make sure you attend. Also, I'm going to put the link to his YouTube channel in the description of the video as well, so that you can check out all the music. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you. See you next time.
I'll never be more loved than I am right now.
Going through a storm, but I won't go down. I hear your voice carried in the rhythm of the wind to call me out. You would cross an ocean, so I